Christine, how much does it hurt the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out?
It is devastating to the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out.
A lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said, one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion.
The WNBA is facing a harsh financial setback, and Caitlin Clark's absence has made the league's dependence on her impossible to ignore. With its biggest attraction sidelined, the momentum that once fueled record-breaking attention has slowed dramatically, exposing just how much of the league's recent success has been tied to one player. Rather than finding ways to better support and protect the star who helped transform the league's visibility, the Wnba continues making decisions that raise even more questions. This is the story of a league struggling with the consequences of those choices, as millions in potential revenue slip away while its biggest draw remains off the court.
And the truth is the truth, and the data is there. And what we saw when Caitlin was out the last time, the 5 games that she missed earlier in the season, the WNBA's viewership dropped more than 50%. Not just the Fever, but the entire league.
In an era dominated by viral headlines, endless online debates, and carefully crafted narratives, genuine facts are often the hardest thing to find. Caitlin Clark's injury absence has once again brought the WNBA face-to-face with an uncomfortable reality. When she went down with a quad injury on May 24th, the league's heavy reliance on its biggest star became impossible to ignore. Now, with Clark sidelined again because of a groin injury for an uncertain period, the same pattern is unfolding all over again, raising the same questions about just how much the league depends on her presence.
Likely because of compensation. But the thing that you have to be careful of is if, say, you try to rush her back from this injury as well, then you're getting into this territory where a very serious injury can happen. That is what the Indiana Fever, that is what Caitlin need to avoid the best that they possibly can. So if it means that Caitlin is out for 3 weeks, if it means that she is out all the way through All-Star, then so be it.
The numbers painted a dramatic picture. National WNBA television ratings dropped by an astonishing 55%, while Indiana Fever broadcasts experienced a 53% decline in viewership. With Caitlin Clark in the lineup, Fever games averaged roughly 1.81 million viewers. Without her, that figure fell to just 847,000. And that's where the situation becomes even more remarkable. Instead of treating these results as a wake-up call, the league appears to be repeating the very decisions that continue to produce the same costly outcome.
Went down. The WNBA ratings have dropped over 55% across the board.
Hey, guess what, guys?
League is Caitlin Clark.
The league is Caitlin Clark. She is the WNBA, guys.
Sidelined with a left quad strain May 24th. National TV viewership has plunged since then 55%. Before the injury, they Fever, her team, were averaging 1.81 million viewers, almost 2 million. Since her injury, fewer than 850.
As Caitlin Clark continued to do what few athletes have ever accomplished, packing arenas, driving record-breaking TV audiences, and helping generate historic levels of revenue, the WNBA faced growing criticism over how it handled its biggest star. Instead of taking stronger steps to safeguard the player fueling so much of the league's momentum, many questioned whether enough was being done as she continued to absorb heavy physical play. Considering Clark has been credited with driving an estimated 26.5% of the WNBA's overall economic activity, the league's approach has become a major point of debate, leaving many fans wondering whether it truly recognized the value of its most influential player.
News is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA. At the end of this season, the WNBA will go into CBA negotiations. If negotiations go well, then every single player in the WNBA has a much better chance of making so much more in their next contract. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled
What makes this situation even more striking is that it's far from unfamiliar. The league has been through a similar scenario before, yet many believe the same issues continue to repeat themselves. This isn't the first time the WNBA has seen ratings and revenue take a significant hit after its biggest attraction was sidelined. It's a cycle that keeps resurfacing, making it seem as though the warning signs are being overlooked, despite the consequences becoming clearer each time.
What's really concerning about this is the fact that we are only a month into the regular season, and Caitlin Clark has already been out with 2 injuries, with the first one being her having to miss some time with a left quad strain. Now, of course, this is concerning because if you're already on your second injury, you don't want to be that player that is always hurt. Cough, cough, Embiid, cough, cough, Anthony Davis. So I really do hope that the Fever really sits her out right now for a while, only because you don't want her to have more long-term.
If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to subscribe for more WNBA coverage and analysis. The financial impact was immediate and impossible to ignore. Ticket prices for Indiana Fever games dropped by as much as 71%, with some seats that had previously sold for around $860 falling to roughly $250. Across the games Caitlin Clark missed, the average ticket price reportedly declined from about $1,370 to just $80, highlighting how much fan demand has been tied to her presence. The effects extended far beyond Indiana. Several road games had been relocated to larger arenas to accommodate the overwhelming demand created by Clark, yet many of those same venues suddenly faced the challenge of filling seats once she was unavailable. One of the clearest examples came with the highly anticipated rematch between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever. Ticket prices that had reached approximately $210 dropped to around $95 after Clark was ruled out. This was the same rivalry that had previously attracted 2.25 million television viewers, making it one of the most watched regular season WNBA games ever. Without Clark on the floor, however, the matchup lost much of its appeal for casual fans, reinforcing just how significant her impact has become on the league's overall audience.
Man, congratulations to the WNBA. Your ratings are going to drop by 55 to 60% once again. I believe the WNBA have successfully broken Caitlin Clark.
Christine Brennan, the veteran sports journalist whose upcoming book, On Her Game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's.
Veteran sports journalist Christine Brennan has consistently questioned how the WNBA has handled the attention surrounding Caitlin Clark. In her book, On Her Game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports, Brennan examines Clark's impact on the sport, while also taking a close look at the league's response during this transformative period. Following another game that sparked debate over the physical treatment Clark received, Brennan wrote, "The WNBA continues to fail to meet the moment. People are watching as never before, and this is what they see." Her criticism centers on a broader concern. With viewership data frequently cited as evidence of Clark's enormous influence on television audiences, many fans and analysts have argued that the league should do more to ensure its biggest attraction is properly protected. Instead, every controversial foul or highly physical sequence fuels more discussion about whether the WNBA is doing enough to safeguard the player who has brought unprecedented attention to the league. It's comparable to a business failing to protect the very person responsible for bringing in most of its customers, creating a situation that leaves many observers questioning the league's priorities.
As big a deal as Tiger was in men's golf, Keith, he did, and when he was gone, it affected the ratings, but nothing like that. And, Michael Jordan being out, maybe a 5 percentage points or something. Nothing like this. You can make a strong case, and I will make that case, and have that there is no one single athlete more important to his or her sport or tour or whatever the circuit is that they play on.
The trend has become increasingly familiar, and for many fans, increasingly frustrating. Caitlin Clark frequently finds herself on the receiving end of hard, physical fouls that spark debate long after the final buzzer. During the 2024 season, 5 of the WNBA's 30 assessed flagrant fouls were committed against Clark, with the Chicago Sky accounting for 4 of those incidents. Those numbers have fueled ongoing conversations about how opponents defend one of the league's biggest stars. No matter how Clark reacts, she often finds herself under scrutiny. If she answers physical play with intensity, critics say she's being too aggressive. If she chooses to stay composed, others argue she's not standing up for herself. It's a difficult balance that continues to generate discussion across the basketball world. At the same time, concerns about the league's financial outlook have only intensified. Reports projected the WNBA could face losses of roughly $50 million despite the surge in popularity fueled by Clark's arrival. With her sidelined, many of the gains that accompanied her presence have slowed. As television ratings decline, ticket demand softens, merchandise sales lose momentum, and attendance begins moving closer to pre-Clark levels.
I don't even know where to begin, man. I hope Caitlin Clark is okay. I want to know when this injury even happened, bro, because let's be serious here. She has the quad injury. Mind you, Caitlin Clark hadn't missed a game since she was like 19 years old, since she was like 18 in college or something. Now she has a groin injury. We've never seen Caitlin Clark play as bad as she played the last 3 games. Let's just be serious here. She's like 1 for 20-something on threes in the last 3. We've never seen her shoot the ball this way. I'll say that. Has she been hurt and playing through this?
Perhaps the biggest takeaway from this entire situation is that many believe it didn't have to unfold this way. When Caitlin Clark entered the Wnba, she arrived with humility, consistently giving credit to her teammates and refusing to make herself the center of attention. Despite being just 22 years old, she handled enormous expectations, constant scrutiny, and relentless criticism with a level of composure that impressed fans and analysts alike. The league had a rare opportunity to build around the unprecedented excitement Clark brought to women's basketball. By fully embracing that momentum and creating the best possible environment for its biggest attraction, many believe the Wnba could have accelerated the growth of the entire sport. Instead, ongoing controversies, heated rivalries, and constant off-court debates have often overshadowed the basketball itself. The impact of Clark's absence reaches well beyond television ratings and ticket sales. Companies that invested heavily during the league's recent surge in popularity are now watching closely to see whether that momentum can be sustained. It has also reignited a broader conversation about the Wnba's long-term direction. Can the league balance competitive, high-level basketball with the non-stop controversy that dominates social media, or does it risk allowing the headlines to overshadow the product on the court? The most successful professional leagues typically focus on showcasing elite competition while ensuring their biggest stars remain at the center of the game's growth. When off-court narratives begin to outweigh the action itself, the conversation can quickly shift away from the sport. Supporters of Clark often point to one quality above everything else: her toughness. Despite the constant physical play, intense pressure, and non-stop spotlight, she continues to compete with resilience and determination. Many former players and commentators have praised that mentality, describing her as a fierce competitor who refuses to back down, even under circumstances that would challenge almost any young athlete.